Hey there, and welcome back to the B2B Marketing Asia podcast. I'm your host, Joe Escobedo, and very excited today on the show. We have Amy T, who is the head of marketing Greater China and Southeast Asia at ICAEW. Amy, thanks so much for being on the show.
Hey, Joe. Good day to you. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here today.
Absolutely. So we have an interesting topic for anyone in the finance or an accounting space. But I guess first off, I'd love to hear what actually is, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly, ICAEW. What exactly is that?
That's a very good starting point because a lot of people does not know who ICAEW is and what we stand for. So ICAEW stands for Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. But because we've expanded outside or internationally outside of England and Wales, hence we only use the acronym of our company name.
So I'd love to get to the crux of today's conversation, which is really understanding how can you gain visibility and reach finance and accounting professionals, because it's not as easy. We have a lot of clients in the fintech space, and they're trying to reach that specific target audience. And it's very different from marketers who tend to be more outgoing, tend to do things like videos and interviews, whereas a lot of times finance and accounting, not all, there's some that are quite outgoing, but like to be behind the scenes or are a little bit more reserved. So I'm guessing I'd love to hear your thoughts in terms of how do you reach such a specific target audience?
Very good point as well. My space or my marketing space or create a brand and awareness is very different. I can't say it's limited, but it's quite restricted. Unlike big boys out there with a very extensive marketing stack, marketing what you call tools, we are quite limited. Is that we mainly focus on direct channel. That means the B2B, of course, but it's really on the ground, bring the brand to the people or our target audience to engage and grow our network locally. Why I mention network? Because we need to build an ecosystem is what we want. So as we expand our student base in each of these countries, we need to expand the network of our university partner. However, we don't work with every single university partner because of resource. We can't afford to do that. So we pick and select only the very best. Like in Vietnam, we work with the best, one of the 12 university, Tun Duc Tang University is one of them. Indonesia, Universitas Indonesia. In Singapore, we have SMU, we have NTU, and Malaysia, we have University Malaya, we have University Science Malaysia, to name a few. So these are the big boys and limited to maybe 10, not more than 15 universities that we partner with, yeah? So we expand our employer. So to have student, we have university, then we need to have the employer. So how do we get into the employer bit is that at the same time, we work with employer to look for job placement and employability opportunities for our students. So once we have done that, we need to make sure that how we bring the brand to the people. So what we do is by knowing what the employer wants and what they need, the caliber that they seek to create so that we can connect them with the right talent. So as you can see, we are not looking at a quick fix like offering our qualification, get them to study, pass or fail, we do not care about them, and then bring them to membership. We want to make sure that we nurture and develop only the right caliber to pipe them into the employer so that once they complete their training, they become very qualified chartered accountants. So how do we bring our brand and raise our brand awareness within the accountancy and finance community? It's through the sustainable ecosystem, university partners, students, employer, and this becomes the way that we have progressed. And in Vietnam, our progress is really astounding. For example, our student growth is about 4-digit since 2015. And today we are seeing a homegrown chartered accountant. You don't have to travel to UK to do that. You don't have to go anywhere else, but train, develop in Vietnam, starting from 2019. And we're very proud about that as well. So they study, train, and then become member. Besides that, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore also has seen significant growth. And with this growth means that our chartered accountant base, the professional base has grown as well. In Singapore, we have tripled our growth of ACA student, and then now getting into the membership 3 times. threefold since 5 years ago. And our ATE network has also built up. It started with like maybe 100. Now it's close to like 2 times. So these are very encouraging number. And by having these numbers, it doesn't mean that it's just number. It means that our brand awareness, our recognition, acceptance has expanded in this market, and there is credibility. And students come knocking on our door to inquire more, and we get employers knocking our door as well. Say, hey, we have this vacancy. Do you have students, to pipe us in? So that's the sort of like long and short of it. And finally, we focus on, like I mentioned, quality. So I guess that hopefully answer how do we, raise awareness within the arena of finance and accounting. And then when it comes to our members, yeah, this is where you mentioned marketeers trying to infiltrate and get them to be interviewed and so on. They're not really shy, but probably not the right place to look for it. Yeah. So we have a large pool of members, especially in Singapore and Malaysia, who started or is more established 11 to 12 years ago. So we have around over 2,000, close to 3,000 members in the whole ASEAN, majority in Singapore, Malaysia. So they are chartered accountant, not only in accounting finance, they are spread across different profession. For example, manufacturing, banking, wealth management, etc. So they are also, and we have many of them, I should say there's many of them who are influencer and prominent figures in their own rights in respective industry, who contributes their expertise and knowledge. So with that, and also us as ICAEW having 11 faculties, each with a specialization, and we have 18 communities made up of thought leaders and technical experts with really sound knowledge in a variety of subject matter related to accountancy, business, and finance. All this members, faculties, and community comes together to form and gather, develop, discuss, research, and produce content to keep our stakeholders informed of the latest areas. Anything from audit, assurance, banking, corporate finance, IFRS, which is International Finance Reporting Standards, sustainability, technology, and to name a few. The thought leadership event and insightful content that we share help us attract medias in the region. So this is another way for us using our flagship event, for example, the Economic Insight, where our lead economists produce quarterly report focusing on upcoming economic outlook and also our ASEAN economy. It attracted the last recent one in December, attracted more than 200 media coverage or media to cover, and then in 5 regions. And we have professionals and academic from 5 continents tuning in. So I think that's where we attract, by sharing this thought leadership, we attract like-minded, and then that's where we can also expose our brand, our knowledge, and our insights with them. So hopefully this gives a bit of insight of how do we reach out to these people.
All right, so Amy, that was a very interesting point. I'd love to dive a bit deeper because you brought up some very good points about leveraging influencers in the space, connecting them with business leaders, using that as a way to co-create content, leveraging research. So maybe you could take us through one specific example that you've done. You also mentioned how it leads to media. Just so I can better understand the step-by-step process, that would be super helpful.
Sure. So once we have identified the expert, right, we know which area we want to go into, whether it's audit, sustainability, or technical or technology part. That's where either ICAEW create or host the event on our own, or we co-brand and co-organize with a partner. That is where we go into the expanding our marketing reach and our marketing dollar by gaining brand exposure, co-creating and participating in various regional, global conference in the arena of audit, accountancy, finance. So one of it it would be us joining hands with one of the one of the ICAEW's partner within the Chartered Accountancy Network, which I mentioned earlier. So 2019, ICAEW led a joint research study with ISCA, which is the Institute of Singapore Chartered Accountant, where we actually developed, co-developed and published a report on digital transformation in finance function, ASEAN and UK perspectives. The Singapore Institute of Chartered Accountant organized an event to launch this report, and then we have a good discussion, on the content of this report, and that really helped us gain further awareness about who ICAEW is, our credibility, to build trust, confidence in our reach, resource, and our expertise. Then from there, jointly with the local chartered accountancy body, we managed to get a lot of media coverage, not only digital and print. We also, our expert from the UK also got interviewed by local media as well. So that's one example. The other way was, if we were to run our flagship event, what we tried to do back then, when we have face-to-face event, we will invite media to come in and give us that kind of coverage where possible. And this event will become a roadshow where we host it in Malaysia, Vietnam, Singapore, and Indonesia. So those are couple of example. And the third one is taking up sponsorship of a regional or global conference where we can afford it. This is so that we can be positioned alongside the who's who in accountancy and finance. Even though we can't afford, the big what you call investment in the sponsorship, but at least our brand is there alongside the who's who within the arena.
So thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking us through the process now. It makes perfect sense to me. I guess one question I'd like to circle back to is, you mentioned content is really important, and a lot of organizations are creating a lot of content, but they don't know how to make it as quality and become a go-to source like you. So maybe any tips you've learned in creating these ebook, these research, these white papers that you could share with the audience would be super helpful.
That's cool. Yes, we have really a lot of resources. Like I mentioned, because we have 11 faculties and 18 communities, these group of community members, who are our members naturally, of course, always come together to look at what's the latest in the market, you see. So by understanding it, giving you probably 3 examples, that's where ICAEW recently developed a suite of online learning modules to support ICAEW members and our students. Now it's also offered to selective stakeholders to develop their awareness and build understanding of digital technologies and their impact on finance. Some topics within this finance in digital world online learning modules are like AI cognitive computing. I went on and go like, okay, now I know better, what this AI is about and how does it help me in my work. And then there's also blockchain and big data and many others. Then we also have produced a podcast. ICAEW actually produced this engaging and thought-provoking podcast series called The More Than a Number that taps into some of the major issues of today by providing clarity and understanding about the relevance and the power of numbers. So we have leading experts, politicians, and what you call top thought leaders based in the UK, of course, providing insights. But the insights are very international; they're applicable. So through this More Than a Number, we are able to also push this content out to members. Use this as a bait for media in different countries, and also a rich content for us to tap on when we have discussion, whether is it on the current COVID-19 climate, how does business change, how do they recover? That's also part of the discussion within More Than a Number. and also it covers other things like the future of the profession, what's going to be. And this then attracts those who are within the accountancy, business, and finance arena to, tune in and find out, what's happening in today's world. Then finally, the third one I'd like to share amongst the many is our sustainability hub. I'm very proud about it because we started this sustainability hub about 3 years ago in 2017, because ICAEW support UN's sustainable development goal, and we want to make sure our members, if not others, and if we can reach out to stakeholders to come together in driving the SDG forward. So it is a collection of resources and views from various stakeholders globally on issues relating to sustainability, the profession, accounting, finance, and the wider community. So it allows our members to, in practice, in business, and individuals like myself, our student, to gain understanding and what our part or our role in supporting the sustainability goal. So these are very good current hot topics that everybody's harping on and focusing on: climate change, and all this can be found in this sustainability hub that ICAEW has, and it's free for all. So if anybody's keen, we always invite them to go in to have a look and take out any reference material within our resource bank. And we last year, I think we worked very closely with WWF, collaborating and helping them push their latest Our Planet Too Big to Fail. This is where Too Big to Fail focuses and have emphasis on how the financial services sector can play a role in mitigating and helping ease climate change. So we had a video. There's a video produced, 40 minutes long, and we use this to launch a webinar where all the thought leaders from Alliance of End Plastic Waste to End Plastic Waste. We have Net Zero thought leader from PwC. We have a representative from UN based in UK, UN Global Compact network, and also from WWF come together and discuss this topic about Too Big to Fail. And that attracted hundreds of audience around the world, including some tuning in from the UK to listen in to what we have to say. So I think it's very important to pick out the right topic that's current, that's critical for the profession or the professionals or the industry they're working in, and push out the content, but using the right technical expert, or should I say the right expertise, to come and discuss that critical issue or the theme or the topic that you have in mind. And so that's some examples I can share.
Yeah, that was extremely helpful. Thank you so much, Amy. I got some really good ideas when you were talking. And I think the key takeaway for me was, it sounds like a lot of finance and accounting professionals are more interested in current and future-looking content rather than a lot of the evergreen content, which is quite popular in other industries. So that was the big takeaway for me. And also in terms of looking at those specific timeframes and then layering that, as you mentioned, with a specific topic or theme, and then bringing in those experts who are either technical or non-technical who can add on to those specific topics.
That's right.
Wonderful. There's one more thing that I'd love to get your thoughts on, and this kind of sparked the entire reason we're doing this interview is, you mentioned earlier that you guys don't leverage a lot of technology, or you don't have as much resources as maybe the others, but you are actually doing some very cool stuff. So I'd love to get your thoughts on some of the ways in which you're leveraging technology to reach these finance and accounting professionals.
Right. Thanks for that. Yeah. So it's always my passion to look for something creative and innovative. Even we cannot, as marketer, we cannot always let budget and resource be the end all, right? Like it cannot be that kind of excuse. So what we do is, the good thing is I've got a good boss, a good team. Yeah. So when the idea comes, it's always being allowed to trial and error. So you never try, you never know. So the innovative part of it, it's that we, my first port of call has to be our internal resource. For example, the thought leadership piece and so on, and our community. But the basis to drive events and use what's available to push content to our members, students, and stakeholders in this region can be quite monotonous, meaning that you always have webinar, and probably physical event. So how do you inject, or how do I inject a bit of fun into it? It's, for example, 2 years ago, 2019, when ICAEW Southeast Asia office celebrated our 10th year of establishment in Singapore as the regional office, we held a really cool outdoor event at Gardens by the Bay. So that's where I met the AI, or should I say VR company, where I met them and during a conference, which is very strangely, and invited them to come and share with us their VR, their virtual reality tool and equipment. So during that event, where we treated our members from 10 countries, from China and the ASEAN region, we added this VR experience for them to test, different settings for themselves first time. Because if we talk about VR, we all see it on TV, on video, but most or many has no experience what it is and what it feels like. So it's some kind of sensory experience, beside the nice dinner and the nice ambience of the Gardens by the Bay. So this VR experience literally lifted that kind of experience for a lot of members. Then COVID hit, unfortunately, but because of that, within 2 months, my team and I the 3 of us have to quickly change every physical event, locally, regionally, into a webinar. So for us, we're not really familiar with webinar. Unlike you're already a pro podcast, webinar, all sorts. We are just like dumbfounded, like, oh, so what do we do? So immediately we quickly just turn things around, steep learning curve, and push everything online. And last year, since I think April onwards, we managed to run about 20 webinars on a regional, if not international level, which we're quite proud of because of, like I say, the lean resource. And then because of COVID, our usual annual dinner, where we invite graduates from our ACA program, high achievers for their individual respective modules, scoring really high, as well as welcoming our new members. So once they graduate, they become our members, so we have to welcome them. So we usually have really nice annual dinner, where we have it back then in Chimes, we have it in MBS. But this year, we really can't do it. I mean, last year we couldn't do it. So what we did was thinking of how do we produce a graduation and welcome new members ceremony online that is different. So that's where the VR agency or company came to mind. So I had a discussion with them in September last year and said, I'm going to do this. Can you create that kind of virtual reality experience for my members and students that is totally, out of this world, unique to ICAEW. So that's where we come together, gave the agency the brief what we want, and then they go on and produce 2 different VR experiences for us, one for our student and one for the welcoming our new member. The event is a hybrid of Zoom conference platform with a VR presentation of the ceremony proceeding. That's right. The virtual ceremony actually aims and did replicate the real life environment in a ballroom setting. What we did also is taking a clip from ICAEW's corporate video, where we take people to a 3D tour into our ballroom. We managed to add that on as well, so to give the student that kind of feel that, whoa, I'm actually, taking a tour to ICAEW before the graduation. It's a very different kind of feel and setting. And then all the students are created into avatars of themselves. So you see yourself on screen walking out the stage and receiving your award or your prize from ICAEW president, who is also another avatar, which I thought was quite cool. And what this gives us is the word of mouth. It went viral, and also we get to get their parents to come in, or their families and friends, near or far. They can be an international student based in Singapore as well, to actually commemorate this moment with us. And they can even take photographs of them, because if you're on Zoom, it's all on screen, like boxes, frames and frames of students on screen. But through this virtual virtual reality presentation, you're able to take photographs of yourselves, yeah, and or your family members on stage, like live, I thought that was quite unique. It is so unique that it's first for ICAEW globally. I'm not sure whether, I hope, for the profession. And the same VR, besides being picked up by you, and that's why I'm here today, thanks, Joe, was also submitted by our agency and showcased at the Asia TV Forum, ATF Online Plus. This platform is participated by key broadcasting and media communication organizations from China and ASEAN region last December. So this is streamed live as well from the broadcast studio located in Singapore. So I thought these are the things that I didn't spend much. Yeah, 5-figure is a low 5-figure for 2 such video presentation, but the kind of magnitude in terms of exposure, awareness, and publicity is priceless for me personally. So I think it's how you find opportunities, and the network is very important. So by having the network, that's where, like, for example, I just mentioned you, Joe. It's like, I know this agency, and then I know you, and then we communicated and linked up on LinkedIn, connected on LinkedIn. And that's where, you see what we do. And that's where, through you, I get further exposure as well. So these are the examples of how taking direct approaches and involving high-profile events, tapping on technology allows that kind of not only local but international exposure for a particular brand. These help, if not anybody, ICAEW raise profile and be seen in leading in innovative creative space ahead of others, within the professional bodies realm.
Absolutely. And there was so many good takeaways, and I really, really appreciate it, Amy. I think you're absolutely right. Network is extremely important. And I loved how you connected the dots and you shared that with, how you met someone at Gardens by the Bay, and then they helped you with the event. And then I saw that, and I'm hopefully, amplifying what you've already done, the great work you've already done. The other key takeaway for me was actively going out there and trying to do something new, because a lot of times, many organizations, not just finance and accounting organizations, but I would say most marketers in general, they kind of get very comfortable in what they're doing. They do a lot of the status quo. And as a result, it's the same stuff as you were talking about over and over and over. And as an audience, I get personally really bored of it. So I love that you are actively going out there, trying new things, trying new technology, seeing what works and what doesn't work. And just that drive, I love that in marketers. So I really appreciate you sharing that. It's good advice and inspiration for everyone listening. So Amy, thank you so much. Who knew marketing for financing and accounting professionals could be so interesting? So thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing your insights on the show today.
Thank you. I know, right? So yes, always go out there and carve a new horizon for yourself where it's possible. I know some organization may have their limitation as well of what you can and cannot do. But when you have the freedom, just go explore. Yeah, the new adventure begins.
There we go.
Thanks, Joe.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Amy. And for everyone listening and watching to today's episode, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your support. If you know anyone in the finance or accounting space, or you're trying to reach that, please forward to them, because there's a lot of really, really good practical takeaways in here. So thank you guys so much. Stay safe, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.